Welcome to Cinemando with Kathy and Britta, a new guest. Welcome to Cinemando,
Thanks,
Britta.
Kathy. I'm so happy to be here.
Britta is a fellow horror fan. And that being said, we decided, you know what? Let's do The Monkey because it just came out on streaming. I just watched it and I'm dying to talk about it. And you're the only person I could think of to talk about it with.
I think it's because you hear me ranting into the abyss.
Ranting! Well, as we know, it's directed by Osgood Perkins, who I loved when he did Longlegs. I've loved a lot of his movies. Black Coat's Daughter was great. He just brings a kind of weird thing. You didn't see that?
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
That's a really good one. Mm-hmm. So we'll just start right off and I'll ask you, so what was your first impression of The Monkey?
I also did like Longlegs. I think Longlegs was my first introduction to Oz. Or can I call him Oz?
We're on first name basis. You can call him Oz.
I think that he has some very interesting skills and like he has a style and he has a POV as a director and as a creator. And I'm also a huge Nicolas Cage fan. Huge. And I know you are too because you have
Yep.
So like I would watch him do frankly kind of anything. I think you and I have talked about this, like, and it's interesting too, because I actually cut that part because I was about to say that you made the poster. I won't say that. But I do feel like with Longlegs, the marketing got ahead of itself a little bit with the movie. Like I've been saying to people, because I do think Longlegs is a good movie, but I've been chasing the dragon of what Hereditary made me feel like years ago, and I have to capture that feeling of being absolutely horrified to my bones of a movie.
That's true.
And the marketing for it was so successful and so good that I was like, I got. I was like, this is going to like ruin my life. It's going to be so weird. And then I went in and it was just sort of like beautiful, interesting, cinematic, kind of like a fun, campy time with Nicolas Cage, which I'm so down for, but it wasn't like mentally what I was ready for. So I wish I could take the marketing out of my brain and watch it again, like clean almost. And I usually would like to think I'm kind of a savvy moviegoer. So I was also disappointed in myself that I kind of got. You know, it was a bit like the Blair Witch marketing of like how everyone.
Oh, I loved that.
Right,
I love that feeling too, like it's real.
Yeah, right. Like it had that. And it successfully got a lot of eyeballs on that movie. But anyway, so I think I need to wait like 5 years to watch Longlegs again, and I'll have like a pure thought about it. But the reason I bring all that up is I did bring, I think, a little bit of that POV into seeing The Monkey, where I already was like, had such a mixed experience watching Longlegs.
That's interesting because when I saw it, that's a good point you're saying about when you've seen the marketing, you see the trailers, you have a preconceived idea of how a movie's going to be. And so when I worked on the movie poster, I went to a screening. I was by myself. It was like they had a special screening for everyone who's working on it. I was the only one who showed up because Oz Perkins, me, horror fan.
Right.
And Nicolas Cage, why no one else showed up, I have no idea. So I was all alone in this little screening room and I had no idea what I was going to see. So I watched it. I was just like blown away. Like, what? Because you get it. It was creepy being by myself in the theater. So I was already a little edgy. And then the movie just was so weird. And it didn't go in the directions or hit the notes like you expect as a horror fan. It kind of would subvert them or like bring like a weird comedy, like a little weird humor to a scene that did not feel like it needed humor. And then the horror was small and creepy. Like, and we're still talking about Longlegs, but I think the scene where she hears a noise out in the woods and sees the eerie figure in the woods, and that was creepy knowing someone's watching her. So she runs out. She's a cop. We're very brave, which I thought was cool. She wasn't a woman who fell down and screamed and broke her ankle or anything. She ran out, and then she looks back and he's in her house. Like, I was like, oh. I mean, that to me was the scariest thing in the whole thing. Like, what? Like, just that creep.
And sorry, can I swear on this? I just swore.
Feel free to use all profanity that you wish. So that was cool.
Yeah.
And then, Black Coat's Daughter was what you expect. Like, here's Osgood Perkins doing the, girls' school, mean girls, weird stuff happening, and you kind of have a preconceived idea, and then it all just kind of goes out the window and goes in weird directions. Especially the ending is completely. I love that. So I was like, Osgood Perkins got something going on, and then Gretel Hansel, of course. So he brings something new.
Hansel, that one was very Very
Very strange.
he has style. He has
He
style.
does. He's
Yeah.
like art house horror, and that's a whole different genre almost than horror. So when I saw the trailer for this, I'm like, okay, he's just having fun now. Like he's not even really doing art house, but surprise, surprise, it did have art house.
Did. You know, I think I just have to get it out. I do think he is like a little bit of a hipster.
Yes,
And
very much.
And I think sometimes, especially now in my grand age, like I think he would have been my favorite director of all time in like high school. I think I would have been like, this is the epitome. But now as like I've seen too much. I've seen too much, and I
It's
don't
true.
get as impressed by someone being like, look how cool I am. And I do think like I think that's my major criticism of him is he's trying too hard to convince us that he's cool when I think he is, right?
Right.
And that sometimes I think he has a POV, he has a style.
Yeah.
He clearly has a lot of things he's referencing and they're cool things, right? But it feels a little bit like I want to be shown, don't hit me over the head with it.
Right. That makes sense.
Kind of my major thing with them, frankly.
I can see that. Yeah. It was I feel like he takes a few things. Let me cutting all that. I feel like he takes horror and clearly loves horror because it's all he directs, which I love. Any director who doesn't want to like stray outside horror, like that was his entryway. Now he's going to do something more legit, whatever that means. Ari Aster, I'm talking about you.
I was like, you must be talking about Ari. That's so
dude, come back to us.
I know.
You made the scariest movie of all time with the weird comedic ending. Come on.
Yeah, I know. And I love so much, which I feel like people like less than Hereditary, but both of those movies are no notes, perfect movies.
So
I know.
Perfect. I know. They're so good. So I admire anybody who's going to stick with horror and just love it and do it and do their own little weird take. And so anybody that brings something different, even if I don't always agree with the choices, I like that he's doing something different. So
I think that's a really good point.
You don't really get what you expect. You get what you need. So it's like, that's what he's bringing. So when I saw the monkey, I thought, well, he's just throwing it all out the window and doing pure commercial, horror, and it's going to have a comedic edge to it, I guess. And I wasn't sure. So I went into it thinking, okay, there's nothing scary about a monkey, except now there is. And so I'm like, it's going to be cute. And any movie that starts with a scene with Adam Scott with a flamethrower will forever be my favorite director.
That's the best part of this movie, and I went to be fair,
so unexpected. I did not know he was in it.
It was a great cast. It really was, and like
really
he is easy to look at. Let me tell you, like
that is a truth.
Having two of him, even with that.
Oh, even evil and the good were both very tasty.
Yeah. Good times were had for sure. But and I do love that they did the nerd trope with him, on purpose. That's very clearly like him being funny. Like, let me find the most gorgeous man and pretend we all think he's a nerd because he's got glasses on, and that doesn't make him so much
hot dad.
Yeah, the glasses. I was just like, I would watch this on mute.
And I like his evil one with twin with the kind of short bangs, which I normally don't like. I'm like, that's working on him.
Oh no, a full fuck ass mom, mullet, whatever that was, bob mullet.
Whatever that was, it doesn't work on anyone else.
Ever. And it technically didn't work on him either, because that's not a flattering haircut, but he's so beautiful it doesn't matter. Like, you could shave him snatch bald and he'd still be beautiful. Like, just bone structure, babe. But we were talking about Theo. I completely
we got very distracted as it is going to happen. You talk about Theo, it's going to be like, what were we talking about? Which is perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, the kill scenes. That's what I was going to say. Because I did go in hearing that there was really fun, brutal kill scenes, which love it.
Oh, so many great ones. Oh my God. I was like, whoa.
And I knew it wasn't going to be gratuitous, let's just kill women, because in horror we love killing women.
That was refreshing.
Right. And I could trust him from Longlegs that I knew he would have more of a POV than that. So I was like, cool, these are going to be fun sort of universal kill scenes, which we want, right? We want measured 2025 kill scenes.
Yes, we want equity in our gore. That's all we're asking for.
Kill us all equally. And they did, Monkey. But
they almost leaned more on men, honestly.
but
scary.
And that was, I think, the most successful part of the movie is the kill scenes were fun. They were fun and they were done well, and they were that was a delight. That was a delightful part.
I love that we find that the delightful part.
Oh, it's all the feelings.
It's so much. And also what I think was unexpected. So basically we'll talk a quick breakdown of the plot. So the plot is there's this monkey. one of those little drummer monkeys, and it's cursed. So we don't need to get the machinations, but basically when the monkey starts beating his drums, something bad's going to happen. And we don't know how it works, why it works. Like they can try and burn it and throw it in a well and do whatever they try to do, and it doesn't stop it. It kind of creates chaos, but you can't direct it. It picks its own targets. So you're kind of, until you find out some little caveats, but pretty much they don't really know how to control it. So everybody wants to get rid of it because if you're owning it, you're kind of responsible for it, and you might kill people near you. You might kill yourself. I mean, nobody knows. It starts with Theo James, his twin. Theo James and Theo James babies as kids, and they grow up, and there's all kinds of family drama, and we won't go into spoilers too much, but basically they grow up and the brothers are estranged, and the monkey is kind of still a thing, and they thought they got rid of it, and you find out it's not actually where they left it. So now things are starting to happen, people are starting to die, and I thought the running joke where they keep going to funerals was hilarious.
It was
another funeral.
Cadence was 10 out of 10.
And it had the sort of Final Destination vibe where all the deaths seemed accidental in a weird way, or they weren't necessarily targeted, but they weren't killed by anyone or anything. It's like circumstance.
Absolutely. So really interesting, creative, circumstantial death.
So one thing I didn't expect, because I mean, Osgood Perkins on some great horror movies, he's not really leaning hard on gore. When he does bring the gore, it's usually one instance that kind of like, whoa, and then you get that kick. But in this one, he's like, all of the guardrails are off. Man, this guy brought so much violent set pieces, so many gore scenes that I was shocked, like never seen before. Like I thought that one person is sleeping in a sleeping bag.
Oh my God.
And he gets a horse stampede, runs over him. There's a stampede. And when they show them opening up the sleeping bag and basically pouring out meat, I was like, okay, Oz, bring it on.
Yeah, the Adam Scott scene where he gets disemboweled.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that's like being eviscerated when like your guts pulled out like that. That was
right in the first 5 minutes. Wet horror, we call it. So from then on, it was pretty much full on like insane gore scenes, like every 5 minutes. I mean, this monkey is mad and he's doing his shit. So there's some plot. This is where the Osgood Perkins part comes in. You may not like is that they bring, and which I kind of liked because the movie it's a horror comedy. First of all, it's not pure horror, and then which makes the kills even funnier because you're watching it just like woo, like you're cheering. They're so crazy, but they brought in the kind of stuff of like we gotta survive. We're gonna kill. It's like look, everyone dies. Everyone's going to die. People close to you, people not close to you. Death happens. We're all going to end up dead. Like if that was kind of the running theme of there's so much running away from death, so much being afraid of death, but we all do it. We all have to do it. And it was chill. To me, that was the chilling part as the mother trying to comfort the kids going, we all die. I'm going to die. I'm like, you're not helping at all by saying that, but it's true.
Like their mom gets killed in this like brutal but quiet way, which made it
tons.
So charming.
She was great. She's just very low key. Like she just seemed like a normal mom. She was sort of a bad mom though.
Yes, but like and definitely like it's kind of the too young probably. Yes. And obviously like, we're dealing with like dad leaving them, kind of these classic themes, especially I think from like decades past and deadbeat dads. But she had like almost like a real world quirky like Wednesday Addams vibe as a mom.
Yeah.
Really cool, like, but she's very realistic, clearly really loved her boys, and also kind of had no illusions about these kids because like the twins, right? One is a total asshole, like me. And I think
why was he such an asshole? Like he was so aggressive the whole time.
Well, this is getting into, I think, the other thing that I just need to get off my chest, and this is like part of my like Britta's hot take corner, I guess. But, like,
that's what we're here for.
What I keep learning about myself is I just think I'm kind of inherently not a Stephen King fan, which is weird for me to say and why this feels like I'm having my own sort of revelation about my own likes, basically. But like, because I love like the Tim Curry series from the 80s, like, and it is long-winded and kind of bad, and I think I love it kind of just from like a nostalgia and also Tim Curry, but like, I used to watch it with my dad when I was a little kid, but which is where a lot of my love for horror comes from. But
me too.
Oh wow. How we bonded with our fathers.
I know. We are fathers who showed us horror at way too young an age. What the hell, you guys?
No, you've shown me like David Lynch movies when I was like 11. So that's
My parents loved Hammer movies, so I got to see the gothic.
Love it.
But it was
Sonic.
kind of like huge crush on Christopher Lee, which is weird for like a 6-year-old. Or when I got a little older, is Barnabas Collins, which is like he was way too old for me, unfortunately. But I loved him.
Gavin Rossdale from Bush when I was like 7. So I'm right there with you.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's just universal. But anyway, despite our terrible upbringings, we ended up horror fans.
Look at us now. Yeah. Yeah.
Here we are.
But so with Stephen King, I think what he does best, obviously, there's two different camps for Stephen King. I think that he has his strengths, right? Obviously, I think at the end of the day, he is like a cocaine fueled pitch writer. Like he comes up with good concepts.
Yes.
And he can come up with like a lot of them
in
a short time. And
that's true.
Like he has these nuggets that are amazing. And then obviously I think like the more long form stuff that he really lands the plane on is like Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, these human stories. He does know how to connect to humanity in a way that feels he has notes, but he also does inherently love people, I think. And that comes through in these human stories. Yeah. When we start to get into the fantastical realm, he gets in his own way by like he'll always, and this is my issue with also like Mike Flanagan too. Like it's like these amazing horror nuggets, and then they destroy it with the power of love. Like, and it just becomes Care Bears.
Yeah, there is a little bit of that. Yeah, I can see
that. And that doesn't necessarily happen so much in The Monkey, but to me, I felt like Osgood and Stephen King is not the pairing. It's not it for me. Like, because they both like in my opinion, and I feel that I am right in this, the best Stephen King adaptation is The Shining. Yes. And categorically, famously, he hates that adaptation.
Exactly.
Kubrick took that story and said, I see the nugget. I'm going to take it to a more successful place. Exactly. And I think that that's when things are done best with a Stephen King nugget. When you have somebody who's going to, and I know that actually the ending is a little bit different from the story to the movie, but like what I think Osgood needs is he's all style and he's got all these cool references. He has all these interesting ways, all the amazing cinematography, really like fun. And he has a very fun little POV, but he needs substance. And I don't think Stephen King's substance is the right. I look at Osgood like I look at like a Tim Burton, where Tim Burton's stories are pretty bad for the most part, but his style is so good. You just want to see his treatment on anything. At least I do. I just want him to like Osgood to get the right pairing of like somebody who has a really good idea that has really good substance, and it's not the power of Care Bear love.
Well, there's a lot to take away from that. A lot. And I love Stephen King nugget. I think is going to be the perfect phrase and title for this video.
Sorry, and also, and my point being is one of the things. I'm sorry, I just like really got off track, but
no, it's on track.
That I wanted to. The reason I bring that up is we have this like horrific little kid that is so mean because Stephen King is obsessed with. I'm assuming he was bullied as a child, and he.
For sure, yeah.
Right, he has to have, and so every like big Stephen King story has like two-dimensionally, terrifyingly, sociopathically mean children. They're always. And bullies, like really intense, scary bullying, and he can't like it's weaved into all of his stories. It never is a pleasant watch, and I don't necessarily need movies to be a pleasant watch, but it doesn't feel like I take anything away from it. I just feel like I get through it. So like I didn't need that kid to be that mean. Like I needed him to have a little bit more depth, but he just sucks through the whole movie.
He did. He just hated his brother for some reason, just hated him, and then you find out why he hates him, which was. He hated him before the incident he's talking about. There was a beautiful brotherly reunion, which turned out really well. But I did love that because what you're talking about, getting the Care Bear ending, and then the Care Bear got killed. Like, it's kind of like, bam, you thought you had us, didn't you? God.
Well, and that is actually, I believe, a change from the book. So I do think like bonkers ending. Which is
it was
completely different from the book, like, and in a very fun way. Where I left being like, the only thing I'm thinking about is like, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just say like,
little light spoilers.
the ending is like, huh?
Yeah.
And then you kind of walk away being like, well, that actually, I think, meant something. And I did take away, there was a very clear message in the movie that I did take away, and that was success. And I think that was like per changes as well. So
what was your take? What was the ending that you got?
Kind of going off of what you were saying, like that we cannot master death. We cannot own it. Because we watched, right, the evil brother, Theo James Evil version. Yes. We watched him try to master it. He wanted to own the monkey, and he wanted the monkey to do his bidding.
That's right.
And he said, absolutely not. And I'm going to show you exactly what happens to you if you try. Versus true. The other side where we have good Theo James. Yeah. I love that I don't remember their character names.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Good Theo James spent his whole life running from it, being afraid of it, not having a relationship with his son, not having a relationship with his, clearly that's something that he couldn't even keep his girlfriend/wife, couldn't keep any, like no relationship with his asshole brother. Why would he? But like clearly no friends. He's like works this like sad little job, doesn't even have friends there. Like he lives a very small, sheltered life to try to protect himself from this thing that ultimately is his greatest fear and his greatest master. So if you live on these two spectrums of like trying to outrun death or trying to conquer death, you're still living, you're living an incomplete life.
That's right.
And that ending really hits you over the head with it, I think, because everything that happens is after he essentially accepts it and finds a middle ground, a gray area with it.
That's a good point. And I like that part of it is the monkey kind of signified our fear of death. And like you're saying, we can't control it. And that by trying to shelter yourself from death, first of all, it's not going to work. And then secondly, you aren't enjoying your life because you're so afraid of death. Like he was afraid he'd put everyone he knows in danger. He's afraid to put himself in danger. So he just kept everyone at arm's length, including his kid. But he never really explained to his own son why, except, if you were going to say, I don't want to get close to you because I love you so much, I'm afraid you're going to die, which is basically what it is in every parent's mind. But in his, it was like true. It's like he did have death right around the corner. But I think my favorite line, and this is like where the humor kind of comes in, just that little weird, we had all this shit go down at the end. The insane, terrible, ending, not terrible in a bad way, but completely everything blows up. And then you have them driving away and he goes, hey, you want to go dancing?
Yeah.
I love the son's response is like, dancing what? Like with our bodies? Where'd that shit come from? I love that.
Oh, good. I want to steal that. I'm going to.
That to me, just like after you've seen all this stuff and you're like just recovering, going, oh shit. And then, here's the good Theo James kind of reverting back to his mother and how his mother would always take them dancing when things were bad and they'd all dance together like in their house or dance around. He goes, I'm going to give that to my son. And he's like, what the fuck? So I love that.
And of the power of love being successful, and that's fun.
Yes.
Good writing in that.
So good.
And just another small thing, because you just touched on something that I realized is my own personal, a thing that I think is used a lot in movies, and it never hit successfully with me, is the most frustrating part of Theo James's good guy, our main protagonist, twin character, is his complete inability to communicate. So many problems can be solved and often in movies and shows with just one person. Just give it a little bit. Just share a little bit.
Yeah, just that was my problem with Lost. If they had just talked to each other, nothing would have happened.
And to be completely honest, I do think it's lazy writing when you're like you have it, and I think it's lazy, and I also think it's very like inherently male communicative. I don't relate to it. I'm a very communicative person, probably too much at times, but I cannot relate to a problem being all around you, just not being able to share and not being able to talk something through, even when it's hard. So I find that to be a very frustrating story arc. And I think that really took away from my ability to enjoy the movie, as I was just like, just fucking tell your son. Tell him you're scared. Tell him you're scared. Tell him you're scared.
Tell him you're scared. Which he told him in a million different ways, but he didn't quite get it. If someone came to you and said, look, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'm just going to tell you my problem is that there's a monkey. And when the arm comes down and it starts beating the drum, all sorts of terrible violence happens and people die in awful ways and usually are dismembered or turned into mush somehow, one way or the other. You'd go, see you later. So I wonder, like, would it have helped to communicate? But I did appreciate that. You're right. But every time he tried to say something, some death happened. Like, remember when the woman's on the diving board and the thing falls in. That's in the trailer. And he's like, no, wait. And of course, he gets cut off and she has a terrible death. And then even with the real estate woman, she's going through the house and there's the gun fall. He's like, wait. And the guns fall out, blow her head off, whatever. It's like, and I did love the scene where he gets totally sprayed with blood and he takes his glasses off and there's just the round, clean part.
And he just kind of, it's in his mouth in that moment. And he goes like,
so funny. So it's like these kills, like this to me would be a really fun Halloween movie because every Halloween I make my husband watch a horror movie. So I was trying to figure out which one it'll be. It'll probably be this one because it's super over the top, but it's also really funny. It has some profound moments. It's completely like crowd service of like, I'm going to show you shit you have never seen before. And he did. I mean, I've seen a lot of horror movies. I saw some kills I'll never forget. So that's a home run for me.
In the year of our Lord, Terrifier 3, to have that come out in basically the same time, and for you to say that, it's big.
Right? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Terrifier 3 had the ultimate scene that I don't think I'll ever forget that makes me nauseous even thinking about, that I couldn't believe my eyes when I was seeing it, and this is completely So, but this had 10 times more of that, maybe a little shorter, a little funnier, but so much gore, much. I mean, for horror fans, this is a feat of like gore scene.
Yeah, it was. I did love it for that. I think what I had said to you before we started is the problem is because, and you are the same, I have been watching horror movies for so long and loving them for so long. And basically my whole human existence for the most part. Yeah. I was watching, even on my own, like my favorite movie starting from when I was very little was like Hocus Pocus, Nightmare Before Christmas, all those sort of training wheels. Right? Training wheels. those were my like my hyperfixation watches as a young ADHD child. But I have come to a place now where I have seen too much. I've taken in too much. I have these expectations that when I do see a kernel of something, which I do with Osgood Perkins. Yeah. Where I'm like, more. No, not that. More. Like I get excited. Like I did with Long Legs, where I saw the marketing and I was like, this is going to make me feel something. Like, please God, make me feel something.
Feel something. That's a good point, because when I saw Hereditary, I was like, I don't care about family horror. I don't care about this dumb, like the mom's possessed or something. I was like, but everybody was saying how good it was. And I'm like, fine. I mean, I watched it kind of late because I'm like, don't want to. Yeah. I watched that, and the car scene. When the car scene happens, I was like, oh, I had to like pause. What? I'm like, wow, I just felt something. I have not felt something watching a movie at all, let alone a horror movie. I was like, do some shit. So that was like, that's why, like you, that's at the top of my list, because I actually felt scared. Because to me, people are like, why do you watch so much horror? I'm like, it's comforting. I don't know why. It's just kind of comforting somehow. That was not comforting.
No,
you messed with me. It was so weird.
You even just saying that moment gave me like chills across.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel I have full goosebumps just thinking about that. And that's years after seeing this movie multiple times.
Nothing's topped that feeling. I'm still looking for that feeling of trying to go. And it's not like, oh, you gross me out, I don't want to see it. It's that sort of like, I don't even want to see anymore right now. I can't handle it. And it's not the gore, it's the emotional effect and the impact. And feeling genuinely like scared for yourself, like watching the scene and going, do I need to be afraid of this movie?
No, it felt dangerous. That movie was dangerous.
Like, what's it going to do next? It just totally turned everything on its head in a terrible, violent, weird way, in a cool, artful way. Everything about that scene was perfect.
It turned it on its head. That's funny. Well, it's so dreadful. I think that's what will really get me, is that true feeling of dread. And I think dread comes from a place of being truly afraid that something really, really horrible is going to happen to you. And that's a really difficult feeling to harness, especially universally. And I also think there's a thing that Ari Aster does incredibly, is his like treatment of the human body when he does have kill scenes. He really I don't understand how he does it. It's definitely a practical thing. I love when also I'm watching something and I truly don't understand what's happening, but I see that, but I know it's a thing. It's something's happening and I don't know how it works. Is he treats the human body like a puppet. There's like a strange weightedness to like human bodies. You see it a lot in Midsommar, thinking of like the death scene where the guy falls off the cliff and hits the rock.
You feel that weight.
Yeah. And there's there's a strange, it's not human, but very human at the same time. And I think he does that so well. And he does carry that through all of his movies, even like Beau's Afraid. That's a whole different podcast to talk about. And I would love to hear what you think of, because
yeah, we should.
I've come to love that movie over time. I hated it on my first, we're not hating it, but I was just sort of like, what? But
not what we wanted.
At all. But I have come to really love it. But that's been a slow grow for me, and that's a different conversation. But anyway, so
sometimes they grow on you. Sometimes you reassess later. But we're talking about Ari Aster and Osgood Perkins together, because what they do is they bring in a unique perspective. A lot of their effects are practical. I think every kill in the monkey was practical. I didn't see much CGI. There might have been a little bit, but it looked like real stuff. And we're looking for that stuff. Like when I'm watching a horror movie, I'm looking for the art, because I know a lot of people did special effects, and I'm always looking at it as not so much, ooh, the gore effect, this human body, this person got killed. I'm looking at it as like, oh, that guy did a great job on showing that head get blown off. That kind of thing. You know, you're just thinking about the art behind it. Well, so I saw almost all practical.
I think so too. And I think again, different conversation, but the most successful, most interesting, most surprising, all practical movie that came out in this, it's The Substance.
Substance. Oh yeah. Talk about practical. Woo!
Oh
God.
I was so shocked. I'm so glad that they have that like behind the scenes where they go through all of that, where like there's things in there that had no business being practical that were practical. And
yeah, they want that extra mile. I like that.
It's so wet. The whole movie wet.
We're gonna start saying wet horror or dry horror. That one's definitely wet. This monkey wet as hell.
Yeah. CGI dry. Real blood, corn syrup, wet.
Real meat, definitely.
Real meat, wet.
All right, final thoughts.
I was overall, I want more from him. I want to give him a chance. I want him to stop acting like a hipster and just allow us to see what he can do, because I think he has it in him, and I want to see more from him. But I needed a little bit more after Longlegs, and I did not receive it.
Okay, that's fair, because I think I was expecting one thing, and I was given another thing, and pleasantly surprised. On my side, I didn't expect it to be as funny as it was, and then I felt like he was kind of loosening up a little bit, and he was just being gratuitously beautifully gory and disgusting, and he pulled out all the stops. And so I appreciated that, because he could have been artful. He could have held back a little. He could have had a lot more discussions about life and death and love and like whatever. And I love that we have this love ending that turns out backwards. Do all this other weird stuff. So I feel like he brought the stuff, but I totally get your point of like, Oz, I love what you did here, but you're better than, you could do this. But we get it. I feel like he was just having fun on this one, because I feel like Longlegs was probably like a workout to me. You had to deal with Nicolas Cage. You had to know when and how to show him. You probably had him for 2 days, it looked like. And you had to wait. Like Nicolas Cage had to do his thing. And here, it looked like he had control of it. It was like, I'm just going to have fun. I'm just going to blow out the roof on those gore scenes this time. I'm into it. So looking forward to the next one, since he got it out of his system.
Yeah.
Stephen King. And as Stephen King adaptation goes, this is one of the better ones I've seen. I mean,
yes.
Can't think of too many better ones besides The Shining. I mean,
right. I mean, like, I think Misery is in its own camp also. Yeah. I was going to put that almost in like because that's not fantastical. Like, again, I think he does well when he like actually, and I do have this strange relationship to it where I love it. Mm-hmm. And I loved the Bill Skarsgård too. But again, that got even worse because The Power of Love was worse than it ever was in those movies.
Yes, that's true.
But Bill Hader is so funny.
Podcast. Bill Skarsgård podcast.
I know. I have a very complicated relationship to, I think, all of these creators. And so, yeah, I think for Osgood, what I want to see next is meet me in the middle of Longleg and the monkey. And like, because I agree with you. I do think we saw him letting go. I want him to fully let go of his desire to be like, just grow. I need him to grow up a little bit. That's like, I'm like, just let it be, because it's there. What
you're going to tell Anthony Perkins' son to grow up.
Yeah. I will tell any man to grow up.
We're going to just grow up. Grow up, Oz. Time. But don't stop doing horror. Don't pull like an Ari Aster and start being art movie and relationship. Don't pull what Flanagan's doing and do this Life of Chuck, over the top mushiness. Stick with the hardcore. We really want that from like that. All right, you guys. This was Britta's first, and I think we went way over, and I loved every minute.
I did too.
So fun. So you'll definitely be back. Let us know what you think of Britta. No, just kidding. Don't just call her out, but feel free.
Just call me whatever you want.
Let us know
whatever you want. Disagree with, so it's fine.
But let us know in the comments what you thought of like Oz Perkins, the monkey. What about his other movies? Like, did you have a favorite? What do you think about like his whole like filmmaking, technique? And are you on board for it? Do you think, like Britta, or are you more like me, like let him do what he wants? I don't know. All right, so we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.